morning, and they took an inventory of everything that they thought will assist them in their investigations. What they took were 3 flags, iPhones, iPads, a receipt for Total Energies. That is all that the state at that time deemed to be criminal evidence, to be used in a criminal court. Subsequent to that, at around 6 a.m. in the morning, a new team of over 100 officers, all of them armed with AK-47 assault rifles, all of them, their faces covered, conducted a further raid in this residence. And they assaulted members of this family. They equally stole, in fact I call it, that was a robbery in this home in the morning. They stole from everybody who was in the home. I'm the lawyer, my car was here. They stole my wallet with all its contents, including my business cards, my credit cards, my debit cards, my money that was in that wallet. They stole from the servants. They stole from Jimi Wanjigis' own mother, from her wallet. They took her money. They stole from Jimi Wanjigis' wife. They stole from Jimi Wanjigis' children. Watches, jewelry, money. Anything that was deemed to be valuable was stolen from this house. Then at some point in the morning, they declared that they purported to have recovered 3 hand grenades, vests, helmets, and walkie-talkies. Nobody saw them when they got those items, but what we know from the evidence we have, from the CCTV that we have, they actually planted those items in this home. When the comprehensive inventory was done the previous night, it had shown what was discovered. But this team that came and stole from the residents of this home are the ones who planted those new items. That is what they went to town with. And I must say this, we've also equally gone to the High Court of Kenya, and the court has issued a comprehensive order. That order is to the effect that they are restrained, the DPP, the Inspector General of Police, and the Director of Criminal Investigations are restrained by law from arresting, detaining Mr. Jimi Wanjigi whatsoever. And for good measure, even if he was detained, he was under arrest, the court has directed that he should be released forthwith. That order is available, and we expect the state, we do believe there are still elements with the state who believe in the rule of law, to obey that order. And they should stop interfering with the personal liberty and the free movement of Mr. Jimi Wanjigi. And we are inviting our clients to exercise those rights that he has to liberty and to freedom of movement, and to act in compliance with that court order. The state cannot arrest him up to this particular point. And even if they arrested him, they are now been directed to release Mr. Jimi Wanjigi forthwith. Thank you very much.
Okay, probably one question. You've talked about an inventory of what was taken from these residents.
Yes.
Can you account in terms of money? And secondly, are you pursuing charges against the state?
We are going to pursue charges against the state because the people who stole from these residents in the morning were officers of the state. And they refused to inventorize, to write down the monies they were taking. I'm telling you, they were stealing from servants who are working in this home. These are people who are trying to eke a living. The little that they have in their wallets was being taken out, and the officers were going with. Even their watches were being taken. Anything that was deemed to be of value was taken out of everybody, from the man at the gate to the old lady, Mrs. Maina Wanjigi herself, who has been staying here, was robbed of her money and her watch. Maina Wanjigi Jr. was robbed. They took away his watches and his jewelry. Mrs. Irene Wanjigi, they took away also her watches. Myself, Willis Otieno, advocate of the High Court of Kenya, they illegally broke into my car and stole my wallet that had my credit cards, my debit cards, and a wad of cash, which they know amount. The interesting thing about my vehicle is that last night when we did the inventory, pictures were taken of my vehicle everywhere, and they saw the money that was there. They then decide to come back and steal from my car, an officer of the court. If they steal from an officer of the court who is only doing his duty, who else can they steal from? How will they respect the court processes? We are now calling upon those who are still within the establishment that believe in the rule of law. You now must obey the court order. Do not arrest Mr. Wanjigi, and if you've arrested him, kindly release him to enjoy his freedom of liberty and movement.
Yes.
You want to say?
Yes, say something.
Mm.
Thank you, members of the press. I see sympathize with Willis very well. Okay. I think I'm visible. Very well. My name is Mwenda Njage. I'm part of the legal team for Honorable Jimi Wanjigi, and I act alongside Mr. Osiemo and my senior, Mr. Willis. I'll just be very brief and say that a man or a woman's house is his castle. That cardinal rule and maxim is that any state agency or enterprise should exercise a lot of restraint before entry or seizure of such an entity. What happened here is very regrettable. The events that transpired on the morning of the 8th, culminating in the morning of the 9th today, are highly regrettable on 4 grounds. One is that the multi-agency operation that was carried here yesterday did that in the absence of any valid court order or any court order whatsoever granting such an access or such a warrant of search. The reason I say that is that if indeed the police or any agency was of the considered view that there are items here of great public safety of concern, the decent and the honorable thing to do was to move the requisite court, pursue and obtain a court order, and then my client would have a chance to respond to it. What we saw here yesterday is a wake-up call to every right-thinking member of our society, because if it can happen at the residence of Muthaiga 44, then what about the common mwananchi? And it's highly regrettable that as a civilized society governed by the rule of law, the police can come over, burgle up innocent children in total violation of the rights of the children, in total violation of the rights of the aged persons. If indeed they are seeking Jimi Wanjigi, criminal culpability is not transferable. What does a watchman have to do with it? What does my friend Willis have to do with it? Secondly, and very importantly, what happened here is what we have happened is the weaponization of our politics, whereby if you hold a contrary view, you are deemed an enemy of the state. And I want to say that to the powers that be, sometimes your greatest friend is your critic, because he's able to put you back to stay on the straight and narrow line. That, and very importantly, what has been going around that my client may be financing or supporting the Gen Z movement. I wish to emphasize and mention this way. Gen Z is not a proscribed group, is not an illegal entity, it is not gazetted as such by the relevant Ministry of Interior. There is nothing illegal, either through finance, either through participation, or through lending any aid to the Gen Z movement, because it is your right within the confines of the law. So those people who have been demonized and being told that you are financing Gen Zs, your answer is today. It is a resounding yes. You can finance, you can associate, and you can picket. There is nothing illegal towards it. If the state deems that Gen Z is an illegal entity, the decent and the legal thing to do is to move the requisite channels of law and gazette it as such, just like other proscribed groups that we know have been gazetted, including Mungeki and Al-Shabaab, but Gen Z has not as yet. So there is nothing illegal to that. Fourthly and lastly, I wish to thank the members of the press, because were it not for you, and that is what we call the freedom of the freedom of information. It is because of your forthrightness and your coming over that this matter has toned down. We also wish to thank our friends, Mother Karua Senior Council, and the Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, who was here today. And it is after that that they insisted that the people who are here should record a statement. And what we found very interesting is that you cannot convert Muthaiga 44 to be a police station. This is not a gazetted police station. What is so urgent that the police want to camp outside the gate and ask all the people who are inside here to record statements? We told them the decent thing to do, and I think they have complied, is if they think they want statements, let them issue summons. we will present our clients to the relevant police station, and we shall meet in a court of law. I think Mr. Osiemo will speak to the question about court orders. Thank you very much.
So I just want to speak about the court order that we obtained this afternoon. I want to confirm to the press that the same has been served on the Inspector General of Police and on the DCI, and after this I shall be giving you the evidence of that service. Thank you.
Probably a follow-up question, Wakili. Earlier, the DCI left with some assorted items. What exactly did they carry?
Maybe Willis can speak to that.
What they claimed to carry was 3 hand grenades, a helmet, a vest, and 2 walkie-talkies. Those are items that they came with. They took photos of those items and left with them. There is not a single inventory. We have an inventory signed by not less than 5 police officers, not less than 3 members of the family, not less than 2 advocates of more than 10 years standing, who signed an inventory after a comprehensive search dated the 9th of August 2024. What is this new inventory they are coming up with? Where were they when we were doing the earlier inventory and the search that everybody participated in? As we believe those who are planted, they create their own inventory, they want to create their own drama, and we reject all these attempts to try to intimidate Mr. Jimi Wanjigi and his family.
So, and when are you revering charges against the state?
We are going to be, we filed a constitutional petition against the state, and we are filing another one on the question of the property that they destroyed in this home, the property that was stolen by some agents of the state from this home, and for the acts of assault, the torture that they subjected members of this household to when that second team appeared here at 6 a.m. in the morning. Any other question?
Thank you.
I normally save the best for the last. Maybe we can get more clarifications. If there are more questions beyond what I have, we can get one of our colleagues to come and answer to some of the questions.
Habari zenu? Mko salama? Very good.
How has been the experience, sir?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Where is Willis? You've told them everything?
I've told them everything.
Unless
there's any more question they have to you.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Let me say something very short. 7 years ago, you know, they say the more things change, the more they stay the same. 7 years ago...